Greetings, friends. It's an honor once again to welcome you back to Rick's Garage. Although today is going to be more of an edition of Rick's Farm and Garden. What you see before you is a Cub Cadet lawn tractor. It belongs to my next door neighbor. I spoke to him last week and he complained that his deck belt keeps coming off. It keeps getting jammed up under these spindle covers. He's worn out his spindle brakes. They're little pads that go against the spindle pulley that stop it from turning when you disengage the blades. And what happens with these brake pads worn out, the blade will continue to turn, the belt will overrun the pulley and get jammed up under here is what he's experiencing. So I told him I'd order him some new brake pads. They just came in this week, and I told him when he get a chance to swing the machine over, and I would install those pads for him. That was the original purpose of this video. However, the machine comes over in much worse shape than that. He has broken off the keeper that holds the belt around the main engine pulley. Evidently this time the belt got caught up and broke this thing off. So we have to order a new belt now, and I either have to try to weld this keeper or order a new one. In addition, I don't know how well you can see this, but the blades are pretty well chewed up. They're really a mess. I think this is going to be a much bigger project than I had anticipated. I'm going to remove this deck off camera. If you own one of these machines, you probably already know how to do that. You've probably done it many times. If you don't know how to do it, there are lots of videos on YouTube on how to remove the deck on these Cub Cadet tractors. So I'm not going to take up your time with that. As I expected, this brake pad is cut almost clean through. You can see it right here. So we're going to have to replace those. Okay, friends, I've got pretty much everything I need to work on this. The only thing I was not able to get in short order was the belt keeper. As you recall, it had broken two pieces. That has to be ordered. It's about 20 bucks. And it's going to take about a week to get it, and the owner wants this machine back for the weekend here so he can use it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to weld this. Okay, friends, what I wound up doing is welding a flat piece of steel onto the end of this keeper rod. Then I'll drill a couple of holes in it and screw it into the frame of the tractor. I'm not the best welder in the world. I'm strictly an amateur, but it looks like it'll hold up pretty well. Okay, friends, what I'm going to do right now is remove these two spindle covers, and I'm going to get the hose and rinse all this grass debris off the deck. Okay. Now with these off, we're going to go ahead and rinse this deck. Okay, that ought to be good enough. Okay, what I've done here is I've pulled these two pulleys together and put a vice grip to hold them together. That'll give me access to the back of the brake pads. I'm going to take my Dremel and I'm going to try to cut off these the backs of these rivets. Okay, so now I'm going to see if I can punch them out. Yeah, there we go. I was just being a little too gentle with it. Okay friends, here's my dilemma. These holes are 5/32. They're made for a 5/32 rivet. My rivet gun has an adapter for 5/32 rivets. However, nobody in this area, I've been to several hardware stores, I've been to Home Depot, nobody sells 5/32 rivets. They do sell them online, but it'll take several days to get them, and I got to get this job done today. So what I'm going to use is screws just for the time being. I didn't want to use screws because there's so much vibration on this deck that these screws could eventually vibrate loose. For the time being, that's what I'm going to use because I don't have any 5/32 rivets. I can't find any 5/32 rivets. So reluctantly, I'm putting this together with screws for the time being. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a chisel and nick up the ends of these threads so that the vibration won't cause them to come loose. Yeah, that ought to keep them from coming loose. So off camera, I'm going to do the other side. Now what I'm going to do is replace these blades. These are in terrible shape. This machine has been horribly abused. Now I've got a glove on. I'm going to use my impact wrench. Now you can use either a 24mm or a 15/16 socket. Both are almost exactly the same size. Make sure you have a glove on. And I'm going to insert this and let's see if it'll come off. Quite easily. Okay, so we got that done. Now with these blades out of the way, I've already taken the blade off the other side. What I'm going to do here is try to scrape up some of this caked on grass while these blades are out of the way. You want to keep this grass fairly clear so it'll help the flow of the clippings. Okay friends, I got most of it up. Not to be too awful fussy with it, so I'm going to dump this stuff out of there. I'm going to flip this back around. Friends, we're ready to install these blades. Before I do, I'm going to put a little dab of anti-seize on here. These blades can get horribly stuck. I had one of my commenters tell me that you're supposed to torque these blades to specifications. I went on the Cub Cadet website. What they said to do was tighten them securely. They did not give a torque specification. And I think the reason for that is they probably do have a torque specifications when they're assembling the machine brand new. But after being exposed out in the elements and getting all kinds of grime on these threads, they probably are worried that if you follow the torque specifications, you may not get them tight enough. So we're just going to do what they said. We're going to put them on securely, and I put a little anti-seize on there so they won't get stuck. I'll post a video at the end of this one where I did have some blade nuts that were really stuck. Now these blades are clearly marked top and bottom. We're going to put the bottom toward the top because we've got the deck upside down. Put the other one in place. I always start these by hand. Don't power them on because you could strip them. Okay, now we can go ahead and zap these things on. I'm going to put my gun at my lowest setting, and you notice I've got a glove in one hand. Now let's make sure we have it on tighten. Alright, that's good and secure. Okay. Friends, it's the next morning. The sun is back out. So I decided to move the deck outside to finish working on it. Okay friends, what I've done here is I've propped the deck up with a block of wood on a 45-degree angle so I can see under here to get a wrench on this bottom nut so I can loosen these pulleys. So I've got a 14mm wrench underneath, and I got a 14mm wrench on top, and I want to loosen this pulley just enough so I can get the belt in. Yeah, that ought to be enough. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. The whole thing is turning naturally, so I'll get my 14mm wrench underneath here. There we go. I got this thing loosened, maybe a little bit more will loosen it. Yeah, that ought to be enough. Okay friends, I've taken the deck off of that block so you can get a better view at what I'm going to do here when I install this belt. So the first thing I'm going to do is run the belt along the back here, around these two pulleys. And then I'm going to wrap it around the pulley and slip it in here. I'm going to do the same to the other side. Run it around this pulley here and slip it in here. And that's how this belt goes, just like this. It's very simple. So now we just got to tighten up these two pulleys. So as you recall, we used a 14mm on the top, and we snuck a 14mm on the bottom. Now hopefully I don't have to prop this thing back up to tighten it. Okay, and that pulley is tight. Alright, so the belt is installed. We've got our new brakes. We've got the new belt. By the way, this is the belt that we installed. 954-05022. It also has a number of 754-05022. And the deck brake pads, this is the part number for them. It's 761-05007. Okay friends, the last thing I'm going to do here before we install this deck is put the spindle covers back on. Doesn't matter which is which, they're both identical. Okay friends, this deck is ready to be installed back on the machine. I'll do that off camera. There's lots of videos showing how to do this. And I'll come back because as you may recall, I had to weld his front belt keeper. So I'm going to start this nut for the keeper rod. Okay. It's in the hole. It's about where it's supposed to be. Alright, so that should be about there. Alright. So that's where that belongs. Okay. Let me adjust it a little bit. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill another hole right here in the frame and put a sheet metal screw just to keep this thing from pivoting. There. Now let's get this little sheet metal screw in there. Self-tapping. Okay, friends, I'm going to call this video done. I took the machine out in the field, did some mowing. Seems to be working fine, so I'm going to return it to the owner. So that's all I've got. I want to thank you once again for watching Rick's Garage. Before I go, I'll post 2 videos to your left. Hope you find them of interest. And to your right will be a picture of my avatar in the form of my trusty German Shepherd. By all means, feel free to click on that should you wish to subscribe to my channel. So thanks again for watching. We hope to see you all very, very soon.